Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams. This is going to be my roundup review for the Essence and Catrice Fall Winter Update for 2024. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me today. I have an update for you on all of my thoughts with the newly launched Essence and Catrice products in the fall winter updates for 2024. These products dropped for the first time last August, and I did first impression videos with them. So I'll link those in the description box down below if you want to see swatches and if you want to see what these look like on my face. I have worked my way through all of these items in the past couple of weeks, and I have written reviews on them on the blog, so I'll make sure to put those links in the description box down as well. So if you just want to look at one item, then you can. I haven't quite managed to put all the reviews up on the blog yet, but there are still a couple that I have planned to go live either this month or early next month, because I do want to spread it out a little bit and not like overwhelm the algorithms too much, but just be safe to know that I have tried all of these now on my face, checked out the wear time, checked out how they wore throughout the day, etc., etc. So let me share all of my thoughts with the new Essence and Catrice products for fall winter 2024. The way I like to organize these videos is not by brand, but by category. So we're first going to do primers, then like other base products. So I have a foundation, concealer, and 2 powders. We'll do blush, we'll do bronzer. There was a lot in the bronzer category. A highlighter, then we'll do lips, and then we'll do eyes last. So that's the way this video is going to be set up. Before we get to the products, there's always one thing I need to tackle when I do these videos, because a lot of people always have questions where I got these. I ordered all of these products online from Boozy Shop. It's a Dutch website that does ship internationally. However, if you are trying to shop internationally through them, you're going to be hit with massive shipping and handling fees, just so you know. But you could potentially, if you really wanted something here, perhaps get it through them, or you could wait for this collection to drop around the globe. A lot of areas around the world don't get a lot of these products at the same time as we do here in Europe. I live in the Netherlands, which is right next to Germany, which is where these brands are from. So I feel like we always get it first, like Germany gets it first, and then we're like one of the next ones. And then the rest of the world kind of comes after. It is my experience that it can take up to 6 months to a year for some of these products to be released elsewhere in the world. So sometimes it's also a matter of just being patient if you see anything here today that you really enjoy. And also know that not all of the products I get my hands on are launched in all areas of the world. I don't know why they do that. I'm not the brand. I wouldn't know. If you have any questions about whether products are coming to your region, I would recommend reaching out to the brand on their official social media for your region, because they will have that information and I do not, because I just buy what I can get my hands on from these drops when they launch. And then I like to come back on here to give you all of my thoughts, to tell you what was worth it and what you might want to skip. And I always try to do it as quickly as possible, because these products are usually only around for 6 months. And you know what? There were no duds. There's products that I'm like, yeah, not right for me, but nothing was a true dud. These products all do what they promise they will do, and there are definitely a couple here that have surprised me in a very positive way. So let's get chatting. So as I mentioned, we're gonna kick things off with primers first, and there were 4 primers. We have 1 by Catrice and 3 by Essence. So the first thing here is the Catrice Aqua Splash Grip Primer. You can tell by the shade, you can tell by the name that this is the Catrice version of the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. e.l.f. has done a version, Essence has done a version. The Essence version was already good. That was more green tone. This is more blue, but this is great. This is actually really nice primer, but how long this will stick around, that's my only issue with Catrice primers. They have come out with so many good primers over the years, and then I fall in love with them, and then before I ever get the chance to repurchase them, they already discontinue them and they come out with a new thing. So what I have done is, in recent years, is that I stop buying these in backup, even if I can, because chances are they will just be bringing out so many new things, and by the time I have a chance to try it and use it up, they've already released a new collection and the old thing is gone. So that's why I no longer buy backups of these things, even if I love them, because very often I just can't. But this is another good one for Catrice. So if you're looking for a hydrating primer that's a little bit tacky once it dries down, but not super sticky, this is nice. It really is. Another thing in a tube by Essence, the Wonderfull 5-in-1 primer in the shade light medium. This comes in a couple of different shades. The shade range is very shoddy. This is promoted as being like an SPF. It primes, it hydrates, it evens out your skin tone. It doesn't do all that. In my first impression video, I tried using this by itself as just a base. Terrible idea, even though the product says it can be used that way. I feel the shade is a little bit off for me, and it doesn't do enough covering to cover up my redness and like splotches and whatever I want to cover. So that's why for me, this wasn't quite right by itself. But as a base under makeup, it looked really, really pretty. This definitely makes your makeup last. So as a primer, it does get the job done. Just the promise of a 5-in-1 isn't there. However, I don't think I will be going back to this after this review series is over, because this is just not really my kind of product. The Catrice one I love. This one I feel is a good product for what it does, but it's not my favorite, so I don't want to commit to using this one up. What I did really enjoy from Essence though is this guy. This is the Hello Good Stuff, the 24-hour hydrating serum stick with hyaluronic acid and cucumber. It's essentially milk hydro grip in stick form. That's how I feel this works for me. You get quite a bit of product in here. Like I think like there's this twisty thing, and I think actually the product pretty much, where is it at? It's at here. Like it does go down to that, like where the green starts in the sticker, and then a little further down. So you get quite a bit of product. You only need a little bit at a time. Like I use this for weeks on end and the dome isn't even gone. Like you just rub it on, even it out with your fingers, and you're good to go. You have a really nice hydrated base that again has a little bit of that tacky feeling that I like about the Milk Hydro Grip, but it's thinner in texture. It's not heavy at all. It's very undetectable. This is from the Hello Good Stuff range though, which is apparently more of their like skincare stuff, and they call it a serum, but I've been using it as primer and it works really well. So of the Essence sort of priming bits I've tried, this is the one that stays in my collection because this is great for travel. Great for travel because it's not a liquid. So you can very easily chuck it into a bag. It doesn't explode anywhere. I love it. And then something that I feel is very superfluous because I just use my my eyeshadow primer on my under eyes, but they came out with the Jelly Grip Under Eye Priming Stick. They did a hydrating version of this stick a couple years ago, and that wasn't hydrating for me at all. It was actually quite drying. This is better for me. It works really well on my under eyes, but the stick is a little bit of a weird shape. It's like too big to fit in my under eye area for one. So I kind of have to use my fingers and then dot it on, so it completely defeats the point of a stick. And I can just use this stick on my under eye area and I get the same effect. So I feel this is not a must-have. This is not something you need. It's a bit gimmicky. You can just use your eyeshadow primer or the primer you're already using and applying it to your actual under eye area and move it up a little closer to the lash line and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You don't need this. Does it work and does it do what the product promises to do? Yes, it definitely makes your makeup last. And if you struggle with your concealer creasing, like I do sometimes, then putting a primer in that under eye area can actually help prevent your eyeshadow, your concealer from creasing. So it is a tip, but you don't need a special product just for your under eyes. Then I have the foundation from Catrice and the concealer / corrector from Essence. And this Catrice foundation has really, really blown me away. This thing is so good. It's the Invisible Cover Foundation. I could only get a shade 015W, so it is too yellow for me. I need something that's a little bit more neutral or pinky leaning even, but it's light enough for me. And 015, yes, there are like at least 14 more shades that are lighter than this. The shade range of this thing is fantastic with Catrice and also Essence. They don't stock all of their shades in store though. They don't, which is a shame because that means you can't swatch all of the shades. So you need to go online to find the full shade range, which is a bit of a pain. But the Invisible Cover foundation, I bought it blindly because I was like, Catrice has a new foundation. I need to try that. But it says natural matte finish, 16-hour comfortable wear, hydrating. And whenever a foundation says that it's matte and long wearing, I go like, because it usually doesn't work. I've got dry skin. Every sort of mattifying foundation in my lifetime has made me look dry and cakey and like weirdly oily in some places, but then some of the makeup looks like the life was sucked out of my face. That's how I usually feel about matte foundations. But this, if I only use a little bit, because that's the thing, this is a medium to full coverage foundation, which is also not my cup of tea. I prefer a light coverage. So if I just use like half a pump, just a little bit, and I dot it around and I spread it out, this wears all day. It feels comfortable. It wears beautifully. Of course, I don't know what this would look like if you wear it like full on. I don't like that with my makeup because it feels too much like a mask. I want my natural skin texture to shine through and to have a little bit of the redness and dark spots still be visible. I don't mind that. It's part of who I am. I don't mind if people can see that. So I don't need full coverage, but this really, really, really blew me away. Apparently it's a replacement for the True Skin that they used to do, which was not my favorite because that is one of the foundations that made me look very dry and cakey, but this doesn't do it. For me, it was a change for the better for sure. This is a really, really good foundation. And look at this attention to detail from Catrice. They've put the logo onto the cap. It's a nice heavy glass bottle. I only had a bit of an issue with the pump. It's a little bit weird. It kind of keeps pushing product out after the pump has already started moving up. So I recommend doing half a pump so that you get a whole pump when the pump stops moving. That's the only thing. That's the only downside to this thing. But I like it. I even don't mind the shade. It's not that warm toned. Also because it's finally light enough for me from Catrice, which they have gotten better over time. And also successful for me is the Essence Conceal and Correct Under Eye Brightener in Light. They call this a concealer though, and I don't feel it's a concealer. It's definitely more of a color corrector. The cap looks peach, but you really need to look at the shade in the bottle. It is this really, really nice, light, bright pink. It works really well for covering up my dark circles. I cannot use this anywhere else on my face though. It's definitely only meant to go onto your under eyes, not elsewhere. Because this, well, of course, this was a bit too yellow, so then if I put a little bit more pink to it, it does work. It kind of worked together, but shade-wise, I didn't love this for myself. It is a good color corrector, as I said. So if I want to brighten up the under eye area, that's what this is really good at. This does come in a couple of shades, but I don't think the shade range will be good enough for most people. I think actually this shades may still be too dark enough for some people who are super pale, and the other shades seem to be very warm toned. So I'm not sure how that would work out. So the shade range is a bit disappointing. The product itself, good wear time. It doesn't become darker throughout the day, which is sometimes an issue with color correctors. But if I use it as a color corrector, it's nice, but not when I try using it as a concealer. So it's a bit limiting for me and what I like to use my concealers for. So I don't think I will make this part of my regular rotation. And what I will also not be making part of my regular rotation is both of the new powders. Catrice came out with the Bright and Blur Loose Powder in what looks to be a really pretty pinky shade. And the Flawless Skin Trio from Essence comes with lavender, a light peach tone, and a pink. Here's the issue. The Catrice has the texture that works for me. So on my dry skin, this doesn't look super dry or heavy or anything like that. But this shade of pink is too dark for me. It's too deep. And I was hoping that this way I would have a nice loose powder in a very nice light brightening shade. It just isn't. It's too dark for me. So for me, it just wasn't quite right because of the shade with this one. And with the Essence, the shade is right, especially if I mix all three shades together. But this is far too mattifying. It sucks the life out of any concealer I put this over. So this is one that I still need to review as you're watching this video, but the review will be coming very, very soon. I wanted to like this a lot more. I love that it has the purple. And what I also like, was it the Essence one? Yeah, it's the Essence one. It has this little stopper, so if you only want to get one of the shades out, you can, which I thought was ingenious. So in terms of the shade, I would say, why is it not closing? It does feel cheap, the packaging. So in terms of shade, I would go Essence, but I want the formula of the Catrice one. Oh, I don't know. Oh, and that's strange. The Catrice one is 4.8 grams of product, but the container is a lot bigger than the Essence one. But the Essence one comes with 8 grams of product, and it's far cheaper as well. So you get a bit more bang for your buck. But yeah, this is far too mattifying. I put it on again the other day, and I was like, no, I cannot make it look good on me. It just looks really chalky, as if I put chalk dust all over my face. It's just not a good look. So both of these were a bit of a miss for me, but if these shades work for you, or if perhaps you have super oily skin, then the Essence may be really good for you. So I'm definitely not knocking them. They do what they need to do for most people. I just don't love powder on myself to begin with. I only use powder really sparingly in a couple of areas on my face, and the powders I use as setting powders are actually finishing powders. I use finishing powders rather than setting powders, and these are definitely setting powders more so than anything else. So a bit too much for what I was looking for. We got 2 blushes, and both of them, again, do what they promise to do. The Juicy Melon from Essence, though, I will no longer be using in my personal makeup collection, but I already have a good home for this because my niece has just bought a makeup vanity case with her pocket money, and she now needs makeup to go in it. And I thought, how fun is this for her? Because this is very light and sheer. You can put it on your cheeks, you can put it on your lips. It looks really pretty. It is one of those like pH responding sort of thing. I think the packaging is cute for her as well. So I'm gonna keep it separate and move it out of my collection, but give it to her because I'm gonna be seeing her in a few days. So she will be happy using that for sure. It does what it needs to do. It's just I want a little bit more out of my blush especially. And on my lips, these sort of like sheer tints don't do enough because my lips are too pigmented. But the blush affair, super duper successful for me. There's a cream and a powder in this. They already did this with a highlighter, but now they just do 2 blush shades that are complementary to each other. And you get a cream and you get a powder. In the pan, the powder looks like it's going to be a warmer pink than the cream is. Also in the swatch, but on the cheeks, I felt it didn't work that way. I did do a look in the first impression video where I layered the cream first and then the powder on top. I also used them separately just to see what they would look like by themselves and if that did anything with the wear time. These wear well. The shade is such a pretty cool tone pink. Let me tell you, it's really, really good. The shade is Pleasing Pink 020. They also do 2 other shades, but both of them are incredibly warm toned. But this was so successful for me. On my skin, both of these really have a nice blue undertone, and I'm here for it. Next up are all of the bronzer things, and we have one sort of like cream stick contoury thing, and then 3 liquid bronzers. Oh well. This is the Essence Contouring Duo Stick with a very nice light contour shade on one end. This is in shade 10 Fair. And then we have the highlighting stick there. I never really use these highlighting sides of these sticks. I never really know what to do with them because they don't, like, they're usually not light enough for me to make it look like a highlighter. It's more like a concealer shade for me. So that's why it doesn't work. As far as a contour goes, this works. It works really well as a contour. I just don't use contour on myself. So for me, this is a bit superfluous. But I did try it. I did test it out. It looks great. It's just that when I contour my cheekbones, like if I try to contour like this area here, I already have a very narrow face and then this just gets more sunken in. I just don't need it. I just don't need a contour to give that sort of structure to my face. It doesn't look right. So that's why I don't need this, but it is definitely a good product. I'm not going to knock it. It does what it needs to do. From Catrice, we got this, the Holiday Skin 4-in-1 Luminizer. So this is similar to what the Essence Primer had, where they promise you 4 different uses. On me, it can only be used as bronzer. They call this a highlighter. What is it supposed to do? Like it can highlight, it can contour, it can bronze, and it can be a blush. I cannot contour with this because it's far too warm toned. I cannot use this as a blush because it's far too warm, far too brown, I should say, and it doesn't highlight because my skin is too fair. I think they sort of try to market this as a multi-use product, but it's a multi-use product for people with different skin tones. So some people might be using it as a contour and other people might be using it as a highlighter. I can use this as bronzer. The shade of it is fine. It's very blendable, very easy to apply. It lasts all day. For me, the shade is a little warmer than I would like. It's very, very red pooling on my skin, and therefore it looks a little bit muddy. So for me, it wasn't perfect, but it definitely bronzed up my face quite well. You only need a little bit. It's a very small, dinky tube. I'm not sure how much you get in here. It's 10 milliliters of product, and you really only need a pinprick of product for your entire face. So this is a product that can last you a long time. It's definitely a good one, but maybe not for the palest of the pale cool tone people. But what did work for the palest of the pale cool tone people, and that when I was using this, I so had to get used to it. And it's the Baby Gut Bronze bronzer in Sweet Shadow. Is that what it's called? Sweet Shadow 010. And this is the shade. This shade here. It's the most gray tone leaning bronzer product I have ever tried. It looks purple going on. I swear, if you have a cool undertone and you find every bronzer in your lifetime looks muddy, too dark, blah, 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 give this a try. Give this a try. This is so, so perfect if you want a super cool tone bronzer. I definitely think I need to go back to this again in the winter time to test it out when I'm super duper pale, because I did spend a lot of my summer vacation outside in the sun, and I did wear sunscreen, but I did get a little bit of a tan. I don't tan. My skin barely changes color, but I do feel that in the summertime my skin tone changes ever so slightly, that I feel I was almost like too sun-kissed. It's the only words I have to describe it, but my skin doesn't look sun-kissed. I just go lobster red. That's the only sort of, I'm either pale or I'm lobster red, and there's no in between. So that's why I felt this looked a little bit off, perhaps for this time of year, but I think in like January, February, March, when I'm usually at my palest, this is going to be perfect for me, because I struggle in those months to find bronzers that work for me and that look right. So this I know is just going to be part of my winter bronzer rotation for sure. It's, like I said, it's so gray leaning that I've never tried anything like this. The only thing I dislike about this is the packaging, because it has that sort of sponge tip applicator like the Charlotte Tilbury Beauty Light ones. These lock into place, which I do like, but there's just a hole in the middle. So what I do is squirt it out, dab it on, and then I pick it up with my fingers. And every single time, I've been surprised how good this looks. This product made me realize how used I am to looking at myself in a mirror and seeing all of these warmer tones on myself that may not always be right for me. So every single time I put this onto my face, I was so shocked with not just only how good it looked, but also how good I looked in it. Because when you swatch it, it doesn't look like a shade that's going to look good, but it worked so well. And then another product that worked really well for me as well is the Drop of Sunshine Bronzing Drops. These are the Essence version of the Drunk Elephant Bronzing Drops. Elf duped them as well, and we now have an Essence version. This only comes in one shade. That's the only downside to it. This is recommended for using like mixing in with your moisturizer or mixing it in with your foundation. And that's how I tried using it in the first impression video. I mixed it in with the Wonderfull primer I just showed you, and that turned into a very orangey mess. Not good at all. So mixed in with things, no. Targeted in certain places on my face as a liquid bronzer, yes. That's how it works. I can definitely make this work. It's really easy packaging to use. It's not so liquidy that it doesn't like work anymore. I feel the texture of this is very similar to the Catrice. So for me, they give a same effect. Like they're like this orangey, bronzy, golden tone. This has more golden tone to it than this one. So this is a bit more neutral. So that's why I prefer the Essence one over the Catrice one. So I'm going to be keeping this in my collection for sure, because this is super easy for travel. It's super spill friendly. You can just dot it around your face with fingers. So easy to use. I really, really do like these. I hope they come out with more shades so more people can use them. There was only one highlighter that Essence released. This is the Baby Got Hollow Glow highlighting stick. Like the Baby Got Bronze liquid bronzer, that's an entire line with also highlighters and blush in. These little sticks also come in bronzers and blushes. I love those. This, not a huge fan. The shade especially just isn't quite right for me. That's the only reason why. This only comes in one shade at the minute. The formula is nice, like this works, but this golden peachy pink, it's not quite holographic, so the name is a little bit misleading, I find. So this is not one that's going to go into regular rotation. I just know I won't reach for this because it's not the kind of shade I would reach for, but I would reach for the highlighter and the bronzers in the other Baby Got sort of line, and the bronzing stick of this is great. So I do really like the formula of those sticks. I just don't like the shade of that holographic highlighter. It was just a little bit like, it looks a little deep in the stick, and then going onto your cheek, it doesn't look like it's transparent, so that was fine. It's just none of the blushes that I like wearing really go with it, and it just wasn't good for me. Then we have lips. I have the Essence Soft Touch Lip Mousse, and this just wasn't my favorite, mainly again for the shade range. The formula of these is great. If you want a moussey textured lip tint, this is great. But here's the thing. K-Beauty did it first, because as someone pointed out in the comment section under my first impressions video, these very much are similar to a Romand collection that dropped a couple of years ago. I had a shade from it. It was called Villain Vest, and it was very similar to these as well. That lineup was very fall, like pumpkin spice colors as well. This entire lineup is as well, which is why it's not great for me. I swatched all of these in my first impression video onto my lips. So if you want to see what these look like on, you can just check out that video. Formula, great. Shades, not really for me. So that's why these are not going to go into my makeup collection long term. And Catrice also released a whole line of lip balms, like colorful lip balms. I just grabbed two shades here. This is the Color and Care lip balm, Care in Colors lip balm, and this is good. It's like a lip balm sort of texture. It adds a little bit of a shade to your lips. A lot of the shades though look very similar once they go on. Again, a product I already swatched in my first impression video. With these, I did select two shades, maybe three, to go into my everyday makeup stash, and those I will be wearing for a while to come. I'm not sure how long these are going to last in my makeup collection because I have other tinted lip balms that I think I prefer over these Catrice ones, but Catrice can do good lip colors, so if you're looking for a tinted lip balm on a budget, then I think these are really, really good. I'm not going to keep all of the shades in my collection for sure, but I'm definitely going to be keeping like one or two long term because I do really enjoy the formula. From Essence, we have this Juicy Balm, Glossy Butter Balm in, what was this shade again? So Berry Cute. It smells like berries, and it's one of those like squirt balm things that doesn't twist back down, so you have to be very careful with this. I bought it because it had a purple shade, to see what that would look like. It doesn't look very purple on the lips, and I don't love the chemically berry scent this has. If this didn't have the scent, I could actually use this as a lip balm every single day. But it has that scent, so I won't be using it again, I think. And finally, something that I did put in my long-term makeup collection is this lip oil from Essence. This is the Hydrating lip oil in the shade Midnight Mystery. They already came out with this line last year. I tried all of the shades, or maybe 2 of them, and those shades were very similar to other lip oils I already owned, so it wasn't anything special. But this darker vampy thing, like vampy lips are everywhere this fall, and this very much suits that sort of category, but without it being overwhelming. Like, this looks really pretty on the lips. This is a very hydrating formula. I love this thing to pieces, so that's why it went into my permanent makeup collection for sure. And finally, we have eyes. The thing that was a little bit disappointing for me were the matte liquid eyeshadows from Essence. I love their shimmer formula, the luminous eye tints, those I love. The mattes worked really well, like they stay onto your lids, they don't crease, but the shades were the issue. These pulled orange on me, so it wasn't a good look, and that's why I felt very disappointed with these liquid eyeshadows from Essence. There are 3 shades, I don't know where the 3rd one went, but even the lightest, like barely there sort of shade, it was just very peachy and not a good look. But if you are warm toned, these can be really pretty for you for sure. And finally, we're going to end this video on a high note because I do really love this Peony eyeshadow palette from Catrice. It's the soft peony, and this style of eyeshadow palette has been in the Catrice range for some time. I did a video a while back when the first 4 launched to try them out, and this is what I wanted. That was it called Desert Rose? Rose something. This is what I wanted that palette to be. This has a little bit more shimmer. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shimmers, 3 mattes, and the other palettes all got really weird splotches in if you use your brush or your fingers to apply any. And this doesn't seem to have that yet. I did only use it in my first impression video though, but I did really enjoy the look I created. I'm sort of like on the fence, like should I put this in my current eyeshadow palette review video and like do another look and just feature it there? I think I definitely could, because I've almost managed to do all the looks with all of the palettes that were in my eyeshadow trial for this month, so I think I can like chuck in an extra one. So this may make another appearance at the end of the month. I'm undecided. Let me know what you want me to do with this one, but I think this color story is good. These are pretty decent quality from Catrice as well. I do enjoy the wear time of these. They're not super chalky, and this sort of pink and gray leaning color story is a bit more unique for the brand as well. So this was another good one. So that's it. That's the update I wanted to share with you on all of the Essence and Catrice stuff. I really hope you enjoyed watching this video today. I make regular content with Essence and Catrice products, so if there's anything for me you would like to see me film with from them, then let me know. They will be doing updates again, of course, around January, February time, when we will get the spring-summer releases for 2025. I will be keeping an eye out for those for sure. I feel like these drops, these seasonal drops, have been happening earlier and earlier every single time. They used to be like the fall releases we would get at like end of August, early September, and now it was already like there at like, I think Catrice already dropped their stuff before I went on vacation at the end of July. And then I didn't buy the products because I was traveling for 10 days and I knew I wouldn't be able to pick up the package or do anything like that. So I was like, oh, that's a bit of a shame. So I filmed that video like second half of August, but the products had already been out for 2 weeks. So I feel like the drops have been moving up. So maybe already around Christmas we could get the spring summer drop. Who knows? But yeah, thank you so very much for joining me here today. Thumbs up the video if you liked it. If you'd like to see more by me, then definitely subscribe to the channel. And for now, I would like to thank you so very much for joining me, and then I hope to see you in my next one. Bye-bye!